Join me right now, back on the show, is John Fraser. He's going to be fighting on March 20th, Eternal MMA 58, main event. The title is on the line. John, what's going on, man? It must feel good.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. It's been almost a year, so yeah, looking forward to get back in there.
Yeah, you mentioned it right now. You've been out for a year. You're returning. How has the last year been for you?
Yeah, it's been good, man. Like I was lined up to fight UFC Fight Pass, and the show got put back a couple of times. So it didn't end up happening, out of Eternal hands. It was just down to like COVID restrictions. And then I think he actually got signed by the UFC then. Yeah. So he's, but it's just luck of the draw when it's just COVID's affected a lot of people around the world, and that's just how I was affected at the time. But it's actually not too bad. It just had a couple of training camps. It was a one long training camp, but no, it's good.
What was it like, with the lockdowns and restrictions and all of that stuff going on in where you're in your location?
I was actually we've been pretty lucky where I am on the Sunshine Coast. It was we had a bit of a lockdown for, I think it was a week after my last fight. So I think it was a week after my last fight that everything started shutting down. They started making crowds smaller and smaller, and then it was like short travel restrictions. You're only allowed a certain amount of people to each household, and all the rest of it. But it only lasted until the 1st of July, and then but in that time I just did a lot of yoga, a lot of weight training, running, working on my cardio and stuff. But then on the 1st of July, it all opened back up, and then we were good to go to get back to training then.
How was life focusing on yoga?
It's actually really good. Do you know, if I wasn't fighting all the time, I'd probably delve into it a lot. And I found it was one of those things that the more you do, the more you enjoy it, and the more you get from it. It's hard to fit in my routine when I'm fighting and coming up to a fight. But like when it's if I had a lot of time to do it, I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Does it help you any? Did it help you any when you return back to like full training with the flexibility and everything?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I found it helped a lot with jiu-jitsu. You just felt a lot more comfortable in uncomfortable positions. Then I found like my hip flexibility definitely improved a lot. But I've got stiff as a board now, so since I've gone back to it. But no, I did. It actually helped a lot. And I've never been one for, not that I've got anything against it, but I've never delved into like meditation or anything. But that kind of forces you into it, obviously, because it's like in Shavasana and stuff. There's a lot of meditation and yoga and mindfulness, and I actually really enjoyed it. The more I did it.
You haven't really needed that flexibility or that yoga in your past couple of fights, because you go in there and just starts these guys, and your last fight, man, only lasted 25 seconds. What can you take away from that? It's a good confidence boost, I suppose, isn't it? It was just a good thing that it paid off. It's I don't really know. It's 25 seconds is not a whole lot that you can take away from it. I think other than like the setups that we were using actually really worked. But no, it felt good to get that one out as quick as it was, and against like a pretty good striker as well. But there's not much really to take from it as much as a fight. I think you learn a lot more from like a 3-rounder, or at least a 2 or 3-rounder. But no, it still felt pretty good as well, That switch foot counter that you used, that was pretty slick, man. I like that. That was is that something that you've used a lot, or was it something that just came out in the fight that it just naturally? That's
something I'd been drilling that particular technique quite a lot coming up to the fight, and just using it a lot in sparring, and it was landing a lot, and that's something I worked at a fair bit, and it felt good, because we were practicing it like right before going out as well, just going over in it, just clearing out any cobwebs from not training for that week for the the rest week for the fight. But that's something I went over and over and over,
Yeah, I believe the last time we got a chat in was before you made your middleweight debut against Daniel Almeida, and and there was a lot of questions going in because you fought at heavyweight and light heavyweight, and you're dropping weight, but you put together back-to-back finishes. How different do you feel at 185?
So much better, man. So much better. It's a decision I should have made a long time ago, I think. I think I don't regret it, not making it, but I think in hindsight it would have been better to drop down a lot sooner. But or just everything, you're just lighter on my feet. I think it just works better for my style as well. And then I'm not wrestling big gorillas like Nathan Reddy as well. But it's just, do you know what? It's just like, since I've educated myself a little bit better with diet and nutrition and stuff, and I'm lucky at the moment. I got Big Red's Nutrition on board to help me with this weight cut as well. It's just made such a difference as well, with the weight cuts. But I make weight, and I not just the last part, but I make weight throughout camp with more energy than what I did when I was overweight. It makes me cringe a fair bit watching my old fights when I was, a fair bit overweight, but it is what it is.
Nowadays, you could take your shirt off without worrying too much, right?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, the shirt comes off a fair bit more the closer the fight gets as well.
I think if I was a fighter in fight camp, I'd probably be taking my shirt off as much as I can, you know what I mean? Just because, you only have those moments so many times in your life.
That's it, yeah. And I've grown up being a fat man as well, so it's nice when you got abs coming through as well, That's to come off, man.
Yeah, well, talk about the middleweight in performing so well, man. It blows my mind that you, 4 fights ago you were fighting at heavyweight and you fought Carlos Oberg, who's going to actually make his UFC debut this weekend. Talk about that fight and just competing against just a massive individual.
Yeah. Oh, that was a light heavyweight with Carlos.
Oh, was it light heavyweight? Okay.
Light heavyweight. Yeah, he looks like a heavyweight, man. But how can what was the question again? Sorry,
what was it like? Just fighting against Nathan Reddy, and then you're fighting Carlos Oberg, and then you drop down the middleweight, and you're facing guys that are smaller.
Yeah, going into those fights and stuff is those fights are the best things that ever happened to me. And I think the fight with Carlos, although it's not my favorite fight to watch because it was too tentative, but it was he was as well. We were both pretty gun shy in that fight as well. But he pushed the action a smidge more. But it's been not a confidence booster, but it's just it has. Yeah, the fighting those kind of guys. Nathan Reddy, he would have been. He must have been on the brink of going into the UFC as well. His only losses to Jimmy Crute. They're both solid opponents and big guys as well. But there's fights that are harder, I think, at the middleweight division as well. As hard or harder. Just because they're big guys as well. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I didn't think, looking back at it, it was quite a big jump to go fight those guys, But I'd fight them again in a heartbeat if I could go back and do it, But in terms of, I don't know. It hasn't really changed much for me, I'm still doing the same training, still working on the same stuff. And, the goal still stays the same,
Definitely. Well, you're returning on, at Eternal MMA 58. The title is on the line. You're facing Kitt Campbell. It's pretty much a perfect way to return after extended vacation from competition.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, but it'll just be a week over a year. Cause I think it was March 7th was the last one. But apart from that short stint in lockdown, I pretty much had a 20-week fight camp for ISI. I've just been working flat out all the way through. It's not like I've just had a year off now and I'm coming back in to shake a bit of ring rust off. I've done back-to-back camps now preparing for fights that unfortunately didn't happen. So I think you're going to see everyone's going to see the best version of myself coming out on March 20th.
Kitt Campbell, he's a former Hex champion, a hard fight for anybody in Australia. What are your thoughts on him and the matchup?
He's Kitt's a good opponent. He's aggressive, he's explosive, he's good everywhere, He's got good striking, he's got good wrestling, his jiu-jitsu is good. He's an explosive, aggressive striker. When he hurts someone, he really does go in for the finish as well. But I'm planning to put him on his fucking back. I'm buzzing to get in there to fight him. I got all respect in the world for him as a fighter, the same as I would for anyone else. But I'm really, really keen to get in there with him. Really keen.
When you facing a guy like Kitt, Kitt is not a guy that's gonna go in there and try to point fight you. You know what I mean? That's not his style. He's going in there to hurt you, and you the same. it must, you know, it must add something to you and your mentality heading into the fight, right?
Yeah, man. It puts a bit of fire in my belly as well. You know, he's coming in there to do the same thing to me as I am to him, and like we can be, you know, I can say to myself like, you know, you can be humble about it and everything, but we're both going in there to fucking knock each other out, like, you know. Yeah, it just puts a bit of fire in my belly, actually, because I know what he's coming in there to do. Like, you know, I'm not saying I know his game plan, but I know what he's coming in there to hurt me as much as I'm in there to hurt him. You know, and I can't fucking wait for it. This is why I do this shit. You know what I mean? This kind of fights is just what gets me going for it.
Now, with your career outlook, you know what I mean? Like, you're fighting for the title right now, and Eternal has pretty much become the premier league in Australia. What does that do for you and the next steps in your career?
Yeah, it's good exposure with it being on Fight Pass and all the rest of it, you know. I try not to look too far ahead. I just try and focus on the next thing, especially with it being like 2 weeks out. But whatever comes my way, all that matters at the moment is Kitt Campbell in my way, you know. And that's all that's in my focus at the minute. That's all I care about. That's all I think about at the moment. But whatever comes after this I'm looking forward to, you know.
March 20th, man. The main event of Eternal MMA 58. It's on Fight Pass, like you said. Gold Coast. If you haven't bought a ticket, I heard that they're going out real quick, so you better get online and get a ticket. Thank you, John, man, for the time, and I'm looking forward to this fight. It's a great clash.
Thanks, man. I can't wait.